This is the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast, and I'm your host, Trudy Simmons from the Daisy Chain Group, providing platforms for women entrepreneurs to be seen and heard. This platform is for women entrepreneurs that want to hear the real stories of what it takes to be yourself and run a business with all the different hats that you might have to wear. These are the stories of the tenacious, the rebellious, and the resilient women that are working towards the future that they want to build for themselves and their families. Hello and welcome to the quite wonderful Jo Sumner from Joanne at Sumner Wellbeing. Jo, thank you so much for being here. Please tell us about your business.
Hi, Trudy, and thank you for having me. So Joanne Sumner Wellbeing is a business that's designed to help you lead the life that you really want to live. And in particular, focused around people pleasers, because that's been my journey. And to also working with people who have significant caring responsibilities, people who put other people first, essentially.
That's amazing. And what I was fascinated with your chapter is this start that you had in life where you were in a controlling environment. How do you think that has affected you wanting or having your own business?
Yeah, to begin with, it didn't. I knew nothing about business. And the first thing that happened was I went into a career that was essentially chosen for me and then discovered it wasn't for me. It was somebody else's idea of what I should do. And that directly affected me wanting to have my own thing, because when I got to that realization, this is somebody else's idea of what my life should be, that was the moment where, well, what do I want? And out of that directly came this. Not only do I want to create what I want to help other people do the same.
And it's interesting when you say at the beginning that the business now is about people pleasing, or not people pleasing, hopefully. And when you come out of an environment like that and finding that you're somebody that wants to please everybody else, it's a big unlearning in coming to doing what you want in that.
It is. I mean, it's 15 years that I've been running this business, and there are still lessons. You know, there are still moments now where I realize that I'm pushing myself to do something that the small, quiet voice inside is going, you don't actually want to do that. That's why you're procrastinating over it, or that's why you're overthinking it, overcomplicating it. It's nearly always the sign from my soul that's saying it's not actually what you want.
It's amazing as well when you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business, that feeling of always learning is an important part of that realization that you've got your own business and that you can do things the way that you want to.
Right, it's the permission. You know, that's the thing about being an entrepreneur, is giving yourself permission over and over and over again, and realizing that the permission that you give yourself gives other people permission to be themselves, to have the businesses they want, to have the lives they want. I love that. That's the thing about being an entrepreneur that I probably love more than anything else. It's lead the life that you've got, lead the life that you want, realize that your value in the world is by being you, not by being a poor copy of somebody else.
And in all of that, how did you find your voice? How did you find that you were able to then speak up about what you wanted? Did you come out of corporate? Did you come out of and realize I've got my own voice, or how did you do that?
No, very incrementally is the answer, essentially. So I practiced a little bit at a time. Each piece of training I did, I spent about 4 years retraining, and each piece of training helped me capture back a little. I think of it as capturing back bits of my soul. It helped me realize I love this, I don't love that. I want to work with this person, I don't want to work with that person. And I practiced literally like any other skill, saying no. I had to say no to somebody yesterday. I'm still practicing saying, you know, I can understand why that would be good for you, but it's not what's on offer in my business. So I'm afraid I won't be able to do that for you. In fact, I would even edit out those words, I'm afraid. I'm not available for that. I'm not able to offer you that. It's not what's on offer. You know, those are acceptable without the justification. And that's a big part of it, is we don't have to justify. That's something I think it's such a joy when you realize, you know, I'm able to just not be available.
It's so brilliant to hear you say things like that, and that feeling of finding your voice, and what you've just said about when you're saying no to other people. When you think about your brand overall and what anybody builds as their business, that feeling of finding your voice in that is so important, of being able to set the boundaries that suit what you want to then go and build.
Especially, I'm a very informal person. So with that sometimes comes the difficulty. People feel that they can ask for things because you're informal. They feel like it's an invitation. It being informal doesn't mean that I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to provide. It just means that my way of building rapport with you is informal. That's what that means. And so it's become a skill to be able to hold that place of, everybody's welcome. And it's still a business that offers these things at these times, at these prices, so on.
So why did you start your wellbeing business, and how has that benefited you?
Yeah, that's a great question, isn't it? I started my wellbeing business because I managed to burn out by 30. I mean, what an achievement. And so really it came out of what did I do for myself to recover from burnout, and realizing how powerful those things and that journey I'd been through was, and how much they could help other people. So it's benefited me very straightforwardly. It's benefited me by recovering from burnout myself. But also the difference for me is I used to feel like a brain on a desk. I worked as an academic and on the fringes of academia, and literally it was my brain that mattered and the rest of me kind of didn't. And this journey of building my own business has allowed me to turn up as a whole person, right? All of me matters. And that's what I'm offering other people. All of you matters when you work with me. And it's not that sense of just a component part, and everything else just has to fall behind that. I didn't want to be a brain on a desk. Who wants to be a brain on a desk? That's literally how I felt. So I feel whole, I feel resourceful, and it's a joy.
So with the wellbeing business, how do you benefit other people?
Kind of do the same for them. So particularly I specialize in a certain type of problem. The problem that I specialize in is people who are quite successful, and they've apparently got all the things you're meant to have, but they still have the secret feeling of, is this all there is? And actually it's tiring, it's grinding, it's disappointing, and they're actually quite embarrassed about feeling like that, because apparently on the tin they've got everything they should have, and it doesn't feel good. They don't feel satisfied. So that's one category of person I work with, and I essentially give them permission to say, yeah, it's not what it's set out to be. It's not satisfying me. What else do I need? Who am I really? So satisfaction is what I offer, and a subset of that is helping other people who want to set up businesses. I just love to do that, because it's given me my freedom. So I love to help other people achieve their freedom too.
Yeah, and I would think as well, with your background, that feeling of pushing forward and doing what you think you have to do, that's that feeling where you get to burnout so quickly and earlier on in life. And even when you start doing it when you're older, we have a lot more awareness around what pushing feels like, and that it's not the right thing, and listening to your gut, but also that people-pleasing element that keeps coming up, and you must be questioning that even now and over again in different circumstances that come up for you and for your clients.
What I would say is that voice that is driving you is rarely your own. That voice that is driving you is normally somebody else's voice. And so you can sit and reflect, well, whose voice is that? So my voice is my mum's, essentially. And it was her dream to put me into this very unusual environment in which I grew up. And she was trying to fast track me. And in a way it fast tracked me, and in another way it just burnt me out completely. So my tip for people on that is it actually you speaking to you, or is the part of you that's resisting, trying to say, hold on, there's a real me here, and the real me needs something else, and usually it's something gentler.
I loved reading your chapter. I've started reading it. I've read all the chapters that are in the Shine On You Crazy Daisy book, and
Yeah.
I started reading it as I did with the others, and you just keep reading it. And I was absolutely captivated. You write so brilliantly and beautifully, but it was the story behind where you are now. I just found so motivational as much as inspirational,
Mhm.
because it's the coming good story because
Yeah.
you found your voice and you found who you are and you found what your business is, and helping others to do that is a phenomenal talent.
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute gift. It's the feeling for me, as in it's a gift for me to receive the opportunity to help other people in this way, and to understand that recovering your own mind is something which, in different ways, so many of us have that challenge. I had a particular journey, but actually, I really did learn so many people are in the same boat as me, and they've got there in completely different ways. And our mind is our own, our dreams are our own. But I honestly believe that there's sparks of inspiration that make the world a better, more joyful place for absolutely everybody. Just show up as you. That's the you that we care about. That's the you that makes us feel alive.
Yeah. It's that knowing as well that everything that we've been through in our lives has brought us here. And without having those things happen, good or bad, and having the people in our lives that have been around to teach us something, we wouldn't be where we are now. And when we have this capacity for realizing those dreams and having our own businesses, and that's what we want, it makes it so much more heartfelt. I think your chapter is your purpose is my passion. And when you talk about that, it is absolutely about finding that purpose and being able to run with it because of what you have been through.
Absolutely. And I would never swap my story for somebody else's. And in my story, what I've discovered is I would never bet against myself, because I've come through real adversity. And I think as an entrepreneur, that's an incredible place to be, because it's testing being an entrepreneur. There will be obstacles. You will struggle at times. But if you can have that sense of absolute certainty and self-belief, my goodness, it sets you ahead of the game. And that's what my journey's given me, is that sense of I would back sometimes I go through little detours, right? I'm not always direct from problem to solution. I'm not sure many of us are, but I absolutely believe in my ability to get there.
What would be the lesson that you've learned that you would tell other entrepreneurs that are starting out?
Yeah, I think the main lesson that I would go with is the drive isn't always the part to follow. Sometimes it's the quiet voice, the voice that, a little bit more your daydreaming voice, and the voice that dares to have the bigger picture and is not going, but how, right? That's the ego voice, which is trying to keep you safe. So drop the how when you're starting out and just go, what is it that would make me come alive? What is it I have to offer? And trust that the how will work itself out. You only ever need to know the first 1 or 2 steps, is my experience. Yeah. I need to know what the next thing to do is, and maybe the thing afterwards. But if I know too much, or rather if I planned out too much, there's no spontaneity, there's no opportunity. It's actually just a different version of control.
Wow, that's very powerful. Thank you. And what's your favorite piece of software for your business?
I'm a newbie to Trello this year, and I love it. I find it so helpful for holding all the things that I do in my business in one place, and the visual element of it, amazing. It's like I can just see my business on one screen. I'm like, oh yeah, these are all the things I do. But also it's incredibly easy to work with my team, and that's how I started using it, was as a way to work with my team. Really, really simple, brilliant, intuitive. Love it.
Excellent. Jo, this has been such a pleasure, and I cannot wait for people to go and read your chapter and have their mouths open as they start reading it, and just to see the outcome of where you are and what you've accomplished. So thank you so much for being in Shine On You Crazy Daisy book.
Thank you, Trudy. It's really such a pleasure and a privilege.
Thank you so much for watching the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. If you've liked what you've seen today, then please make sure that you click the subscribe button to this channel to see more inspiration and motivation as more of these stories keep coming out. And if you want even more, click on the link below this video and go and have a look at the series of books Shine On You Crazy Daisy and get even more inspiration and motivation for you and your business.